All right, let's jump straight into this explainer. Welcome back. Today, we're taking your home workouts and using them to absolutely transform your physique. I mean, we're talking about the ultimate home shoulder routine here. If you've been grinding away in your living room and feeling like your upper body just kind of blends together without popping, well, you're in the right place. We're going to break down the actual science, the anatomy, and the precise movements you need to build a really complete aesthetic frame.
Because honestly, look at the difference here. This really hits the nail on the head regarding the frustrations so many of us deal with. You're training hard, doing all your push-ups, and yeah, maybe you've built up a pretty decent chest and back, but then you catch yourself in the mirror and your shoulders just look like flat, floppy pancakes instead of those awesome aesthetic 3D coconuts, right? Shoulders are quite literally the secret ingredient to turning an average physique into an incredible one. But if you're training them wrong, they're just not going to grow, period.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, fixing those flat pancake shoulders. Number 2, hitting the front delt. 3, unlocking the side delt. 4, the nutrition rule for 3D shoulders. 5, neglected rear delts and posture. And finally, number 6, putting together your complete shoulder routine. Let's get into it.
Section 1. Fixing flat pancake shoulders. Okay, so the core issue here isn't that you aren't training hard enough. It's that during standard push-ups and dips, your shoulders are definitely helping out, but they are never the star of the show. To fix this, we've got to look under the hood at the anatomy. Your shoulder, the deltoid, isn't just one big blob of muscle. It's actually made up of 3 very distinct parts, and you absolutely must hit all 3 if you want that round, 3-dimensional look. Think of it like a puzzle. Your front delt lifts your arm forward and up. Your side delt lifts your arm out to the side, and this one is absolutely crucial for giving you that wide V-taper look. And finally, the rear delt sits in the back, pulling your arm backward, which totally saves your posture and rounds out the whole shoulder from the side profile. Section 2, hitting the front delt. We're going to start our targeted attack right at the front, and I got to warn you up front, this movement is going to completely humble your ego. We're talking about pike push-ups. You know, this move looks so incredibly easy, right? Up until your shoulders remind you who's actually doing the heavy lifting. To pull this off properly, start in your standard push-up position, then walk your feet in toward your hands until your body forms a kind of upside-down V shape. From there, lower your head down toward the floor, right between your hands. The real secret sauce here? Keep those hips high the whole time and your elbows slightly tucked. This exact geometry forces your front delts to take the absolute brunt of the work, stopping your chest from completely taking over. Your target for these is 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps. If your form is dialed in, your shoulders are going to be absolutely screaming. And the coolest part about this movement is how easily it scales up. Once you can knock out 12 perfectly clean reps, you level up. Just pop your feet up on a chair or a box or the couch. Elevating your feet makes your body more vertical, which essentially turns this into a massive, super heavy shoulder press right there in your living room.
Now, a super quick equipment hack for you. If your wrists start giving you trouble during these, it's usually because they're stuck in a really awkward bent position under all that load. Grab a cheap pair of parallettes. These are a total game changer. They keep your wrists completely neutral, which takes all that nasty stress right off the joints. But wait, it gets better. Because your hands are slightly elevated off the floor, you can drop your head way deeper into the movement. And more range of motion literally equals a deeper stretch, better muscle recruitment, and way faster results.
Moving on to Section 3, unlocking the side delts.
All right, we've punished the front, so now it's time to build out that width. This next movement is basically a cheat code for getting that aesthetic V-taper. We are talking about band lateral raises. But first things first, I repeat, do not use a band that's so heavy you can't control it. If you can't finish a full, clean rep, you're not being hardcore, you're just kind of wasting your time. So step on the middle of the band and keep your arms just slightly in front of your body with a tiny little bend in the elbows. Raise your arms up to shoulder height, pause for a split second to really feel that squeeze, and then lower it nice and slow. Keeping those arms slightly forward rather than strictly out to the sides actually gives you way better activation on the muscle.
You want to aim for 4 sets of 12 to 15 super clean, controlled reps here. And hey, if you find yourself blasting through 15 reps easily, you don't even necessarily need to go buy a heavier band. Make it harder the smart way. Just slow down your tempo. Try taking 2 or 3 full seconds on the way down and then lift back up with absolute control. Suddenly, that exact same resistance band is going to feel insanely heavy.
But actually, let's hit pause for a second and ask a really critical question. You're grinding out the pike push-ups, you're nailing the lateral raises, you are building the muscle. So why aren't your shoulders popping? Why don't they have that 3D look yet? Well, the reality check here is that building the muscle is literally only half the equation.
Which brings us to Section 4, Nutrition for 3D Shoulders.
So, nutrition is the essential bridge connecting all that hard work in your living room to actually seeing the shape in the mirror. Because shoulders are all about definition. Carrying too much fat just completely blurs all those lines. If you're eating way too much, you completely lose that taper and end up looking like what we playfully call a walking fridge. Not ideal. But on the exact opposite side, if you go crazy and cut your calories way too hard, you end up looking totally flat. And all that shoulder muscle you just killed yourself to build basically vanishes. You really have to find that sweet middle ground to get lean the right way.
To hit that exact sweet spot where the fat melts off but the muscle sticks around, you need precision, but without the massive headache of traditional tracking. Our source material strongly recommends checking out the Cal AI app for this. It takes all the frustrating guesswork out of the picture by handing you exact calorie targets. But honestly, the absolute best feature is the photo scanner. You don't have to sit there logging every individual macro like some full-time nutritionist. You literally just snap a photo of your plate and the AI scans it and logs the whole shebang in seconds. Plus, it has a massive food database and a handy barcode scanner for when you're grabbing a snack on the run.
So, if you want to dial in your nutrition and finally uncover those 3D coconuts, download Cow AI and use the code CAPTAINWORKOUT to grab a free 3-day trial. Getting your food right is absolutely how you ensure your gym efforts actually translate to your physique.
Section 5. Neglected rear delts and posture.
Okay, we're pivoting to the back of the shoulder now. We're focusing on the absolute most neglected muscle group out there, one that will totally wreck your side profile if you keep ignoring it. You see, most people just do pushing motions and leave the rear delt completely out in the cold. To fix this glaring imbalance, we are bringing in ring face pulls. You'll want to set up your rings or a bar somewhere right around upper chest or face height. Lean back with your arms fully extended. Now, as you pull those handles right toward your face, you absolutely must keep your elbows higher than your wrists. And right at the peak of the movement, let your upper back round just a tiny bit. This detail is absolutely vital. It maximizes how much the rear delt works and stops you from accidentally cheating by turning it into a regular back row. We're targeting 4 sets of 12 to 15 highly controlled reps for this one. If you try to rush through these, you're missing the whole point. Do it slow, squeeze hard at the top, and I guarantee you'll feel muscles light up that you honestly didn't even know existed. To adjust the difficulty, it's super easy. If it's too hard, step forward so you're standing more upright. Want it harder? Walk your feet forward so your body gets closer to parallel with the floor. And here is exactly why you absolutely cannot skip your face pulls. It's not just about looking good, it's about keeping your body healthy. Face pulls directly train your rotator cuff. These are basically tiny, invisible muscles that keep your entire shoulder joint tight, stable, and secure. They're involved in practically every single upper body movement you do. If you neglect them, I promise you, eventually your shoulders are going to start hurting. Keep them strong, though, and your shoulders will stay bulletproof and pain-free for life.
Section 6, your complete shoulder routine.
All right, let's bring all these incredible mechanics and isolation movements together into one straightforward plan. The coolest thing here is how perfectly these 3 specific exercises interlock to cure that pancake shoulder problem. You kick things off with pike push-ups, doing 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps to absolutely hammer the front delt. Then, you move right into band lateral raises for 4 sets of 12 to 15 reps, widening out that side delt. Finally, you cap it all off with ring face pulls, another 4 sets of 12 to 15 reps to bulletproof that rotator cuff and get the rear delt popping. Every single movement isolates exactly one piece of the 3D puzzle. Now, for the absolute best, most noticeable results, you want to run this exact routine 1 to 2 times per week. Consistent exposure to these specific angles is exactly what forces your shoulders to adapt, grow, and fill out in all 3 dimensions. Which leaves us with one final big question to wrap up today's explainer. You now have the exact anatomical blueprint, the precision movements to target every single head of the deltoid, and the exact nutrition strategy to melt the fat and show off the muscle underneath. The tools are quite literally right in front of you. So are you ready to ditch those pancake shoulders, put your ego in check with some pike push-ups, and finally build that complete 3D aesthetic frame? Take this routine, put in the reps, and just watch your physique transform. Thanks for learning with me today, and keep staying focused.